Good morning, everyone. Thank you for watching today. Happy Valentine's Day. And today, an ultra special show with some ultra special guests. And we have the wives of all of us here today. We decided we would have them on the show because we didn't want to get accused of doing things without them on Valentine's Day. And it's all it's supposed to be all about couples and everything. And so we decided to let you listen to them in case you haven't met them. Of course, this is my wife, Cassandra, host of Gently Led Sisters, and I'm sure many of you have seen that before. And then we have Morgan, Brother Matt's wife, and Sarah, Brother Aaron's wife, and their little girl Mavis in here. And then we have Janae, Austin's wife. So since we have our wives in here today, it's Valentine's Day. We're just going to give all kinds of relationship advice and marriage advice, all that kind of stuff. And we are more than qualified. Of course, I'm a pastor, been married for almost 20 years. But we also have Aaron and Sarah here who they haven't been married very long. How long y'all been married now?
2 years.
2 years. But they won last week's newlywed contest, which determines who has the best marriage in the church. And they won it. And so they have the best marriage in the church. So the rest of us are going to be trying to get some advice from them today, too, because we know they've got something to bring to the table. But if you're not familiar with the newlywed game, that's the game where you ask questions and both have to give the same answer. So, you'll ask a question like, where'd you go on your first date? And then they both have to write down their answer. If they come up with the same thing, then it's right. Yeah, and they won that last week. Did you guys get to use your gift certificate yet?
No.
Not yet.
I want to say, though, they cheated. I caught them one time cheating.
I suspected
He prepared. He won't even let me. He won't let me prepare. He won't. He doesn't want to.
That's because I have an advantage because I know what the questions are going to be ahead of time.
He won't let me.
So we do no prepping for it.
Blind.
Yeah. I know one year we're pretty sure that the Andersons they went online and were just looking up all those, and I think we're going over everything. Yeah, they
won that year.
Yeah, because I think the year before they got last place.
They did.
And
they didn't want last again.
And if you get last place, then you get declared to have the worst marriage in the church.
I did talk to the losers yesterday. They seem legit sad about it.
They were so funny.
Yeah, so the Morenos, they have the worst marriage in the church. So
it took like 7 questions for them to even get one.
I know.
It was a long time. It was a long time, but we won it one year. We've never gotten last place. We've come very close. But we did win it one year.
We've never had someone win it twice.
But yeah, nobody's ever won twice.
Which means it's only downhill from here.
Yeah.
Next year, we're gonna do back to back.
We
so
can
there
keep
can't be any mouthing.
Yeah.
Just with them.
Yeah, just with those two.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We can keep it up though. We can keep it up.
They'll come up.
That's still pretty good though.
If
they've got silent communication down already.
Just get some Morse code.
Yeah.
The contest for the best marriage. We're doing pretty great.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the rules were no cheating unless you get caught. Yeah, no getting caught. So
I did catch him one time.
You got caught.
We did. She wasn't able to lay out the proof, and so
just like they weren't allowed to lay out the proof for the election.
Right.
More witnesses.
Yeah.
More witnesses.
Yeah. For something that serious, you got to have 2 or 3 witnesses, and we didn't have it. So anyway, well, before we get to just kind of what we want to talk about, we'll maybe take some questions from the live chat in there if anybody's serious about getting actual advice. But we want to do we're going to start with the preaching clip of the week. So the We Ain't Changing segments, those aren't going to be every week. It's too hard to come up with those all the time. As we notice new trends popping up, that we'll do those things. Preaching clip we try to do every week. This one is a special one though, because this is not just one preacher. This is many preachers. What we have is a montage. And something I forgot to bring up though last week, Austin, how did you feel getting honored with preaching clip of the week 2 weeks ago?
Well, I was thinking about it, and I think that makes me the best preacher in our church. I'm the only person from our church that's gotten the honors.
That's true. That's true. The problem is I pick a lot of those, and so I've had multiple entries of mine.
But you're just too humble.
I'm too humble to play
Too
them.
humble to accept that honor.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah, you can't take that honor on yourself. So if I ever turn preaching clips over to somebody else, then but then
Pretty much every one of them would probably.
right, well, the thing is, we only allow people at least one per year. Is what we're gonna do because otherwise we're gonna run out of preachers eventually.
So you can hand it over to somebody else, and you can do it at like the last week of the year, and then also the first week of the year. So you can go back to back.
There you go. There you go.
And Austin, you can just phone it in for the next 11 months because you can't make it until next January.
Yeah, that's true.
So no sense in wasting anything.
Exactly.
Excellent.
That's true. But...
What else do you preach for except to earn a preacher?
All right. So anyway, well, let's go ahead and we're going to do this very special preaching clip montage that I know it blessed my heart when I watched it, and I hope it will bless yours. So,
but we should do something with this, though.
All right.
Instead of any of the men giving any commentary when this is done, just one by one go down and ask all the women before any man says a thing about it.
All right, that's a good
that
plan.
Way we can't influence their opinions at all.
Yeah, we don't want to do like leading questions, so because we want to know what y'all really think of this. Because I shouldn't say too much because I don't want to influence their thinking, but I was blessed, and so I figured. Let's share this for all ladies so they can also get a blessing too. So go ahead and roll our preaching clip of the week.
The preacher featured on this clip is not necessarily endorsed by Pastor McMurtry or the Spirit of Liberty broadcast, nor does the preacher being featured necessarily endorse this broadcast or Pastor McMurtry. The makers of the Spirit of Liberty broadcast just heard this clip and thought,
"That's good preaching."
If you're a preacher and you're infatuated with what women wear, you're dangerous.
If they can walk around, they shouldn't be walking around at church in their pants sleepers.
Showing of your shoulders and fundamentalism is becoming real big. I don't know where that came from, but it dead sure didn't come from fundamentalism.
With not enough clothes on to make a pair of leggings for a hummingbird. Breeches so tight if one thread broke, the whole thing would go.
He's dressed in skin-tight yoga pants, spaghetti straps where you can see half of her bra, cleavage spilling out everywhere.
Independent fundamental Baptist churches have pastors who have daughters who dress like whores. I didn't say she was a whore or they are a whore. I said they dress like them. They advertise their bodies. They wrap themselves in clothes like saran wrap on top of a piece of chicken.
When you think of the attire of a harlot, what does she have on her feet? Really high ones, super high. They're designed to push your bottom out. Tight clothes means loose character.
A man's pants are formed with a crotch in the pants. There is a cutting up. I came to the conviction, I want to follow the scriptures in letting down. Our school and our church don't even wear culottes anymore because they divided bringing up.
If you have to ski in pants, don't ski.
Ladies, and people are going, he said, well, I don't like that. It makes me feel freaky, man. He said, what do I do? You look back at them and go, because they're freaky.
Girls, look at me. You have no right to put on a pair of shorts.
So ladies, you should wear a long skirt. Men should wear pants.
I thank God I didn't have mama and grandmamas strut around in their big stretch breeches with their showing their big fat self. There were gobs and rolls hanging everywhere. I really thought it was an elephant with diapers on when I first saw it. I really did.
Walking down through there in short shorts, bouncing down the road. Look like 4 jelly-filled fluorescent light bulbs bouncing down the sidewalk.
That's good preaching.
All right, my thoughts on this. Listen, I agree that we should be feminine, okay? But I don't know about you guys, it's a really big turnoff to me when pastors get up and start talking in detail about what you should wear. It starts to weird me out when they
when they're going into graphic detail.
Yeah, it starts to really just weird me out.
It's like, where is their mind at?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it shows their heart.
Oh, right. I'll keep quiet until I'm get yours.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I was gonna say they did use very descriptive language when they were talking about how women are dressing, and
yeah,
I don't think a baby should have to worry about wearing sleepers. And
yes, babies can't be immodest.
No.
What did you think, Miss Morgan?
I thought it was super insulting, but also a huge blessing.
Oh man, see, I personally thought it was fantastic. Yeah,
Larry Brown was funny.
Yeah,
I have to give it to him.
Yeah.
He was funny.
Yeah, and the one dude that was getting a little descriptive, I was like, yeah, it was a little creepy. But the thing is,
not even culottes. Come on, culottes are definitely feminine.
right? Well, he just said that's their standard.
Well, my whole point with modesty is, you're supposed to be, girls are supposed to look like girls and boys are supposed to look like boys. Culottes on a boy would be creepy.
It'd be feminine.
So, yeah, it'd be feminine. So I don't have, I don't.
Right. And I'm not against somebody that's got a higher standard, but the thing too, when you see like a clip montage like that, it's real easy, man, these IFB people, they're just obsessed with this stuff. But you got to understand, IFB preaching clips, they watch hours and hours and hours, and then if you put a sermon with like dress in the title and they know it's about dress standards, they're definitely watching that one. And so the thing is too, a lot of that stuff is guys being funny, like Larry Brown. I don't really
Southern guys.
Yeah, the Southern guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, did you all feel like oppressed as women? When he talked about the one with the big fat self, did that just because from what I understand from the liberals, when you insult one woman, you insult them all. Like when Donald Trump, he insulted, I forgot, it was one woman he insulted back when he was running for president. And the woman he insulted, she was like talking about how women everywhere should feel. And it's just like, he wasn't insulting women everywhere. He was talking about you. But anyway, I just wanted to play that in front of all of you just because it just makes women's heads explode so much. And I just wanted to see if you guys would like all go crazy on us or anything like that. But yeah, I personally enjoy those clips. And so thank you, IFB Preacher Clips, for putting these things together. I still think they're a great resource, and I get a lot of good stuff from them. And
how do you get stuff if you're blocked?
I know, that's what
I can go incognito. I just can't comment. I can't like or share. So they can block me, but they can't stop me. I can still enjoy his clips that he puts out, or she, I'm sorry, puts out. It has been confirmed it's a she that does most of it. But anyway, so let's talk about Valentine's Day. So Aaron and Sarah, since you guys have this like great marriage, Valentine's Day, I personally think it's just one more holiday to get money out of us. But
you're a guy, you're gonna say that.
Does anybody do anything special for Valentine's Day, or did you like buy your wife a ton of stuff? I mean, is that what it takes to have a good marriage? Tell me you bought her nothing.
We didn't do anything at all right now.
That's secret.
We're kind of planning on utilizing that card for the purpose. But
there you go.
No, we didn't do anything personally. Like I'll do something, candy, flowers, card, whatever, for the sake of it. But I think it's a pretty pointless holiday. Like let's point out a day where girls could, or all the ladies could get mad at their dude.
We aren't super big gift people either, so that could play into it for sure.
So y'all take advice.
That's noted. That's noted. I agree.
That's horrible advice.
How long have you two been married?
10 years, almost 11 years. Or is it almost 12 years?
Almost
I don't
12
know.
years.
Okay.
So does Valentine's Day, does it get you in more trouble, or does it end up being a good thing?
He wouldn't do anything if it wasn't for you people doing stuff for your wife.
Peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I would still buy flowers and candy, which I did. Took you out to dinner last night.
There you go. Yeah, we all did that, didn't we?
I told you what Austin did for his wife.
Yeah, see, we weren't going to get to them on this subject. because we were going to change the subject before we got to them because my wife already told me.
And I don't approve.
And that's see, Valentine's Day and social media are two things that weren't meant to exist together because Valentine's Day came before social media, and so now you got social media where you have goofballs that come along and then, ooh, look at all the stuff I did. I'm going to show everybody, and then they get everybody else in trouble.
These goofballs didn't do that. We didn't post a thing about it.
Well, how'd my wife know about it?
Because she told
I shared it with my friend.
It was
Yes.
gratitude. It was
Yes.
gratitude.
Yes.
And it was appropriate.
Well, tell everybody how great of a husband I am.
That's what she said.
I did.
Tell the world here. how
He
great of a
did.
husband
He set up a very nice date at home. He did it himself, and it was very nice.
Let her get her an outfit.
Yes, he
Brought her
got
home
me an
Starbucks.
outfit. Yeah, it was all very nice and thought out.
Most of us, Starbucks is the way to our heart.
True.
Starbucks is on the other side of town. I never. I'm never in that part of
It's
town.
out of the way to your heart.
Yeah.
You can't go out of the routine.
And plus, I don't speak Starbucks.
He doesn't. He
I
has
feel
to order. He
like a
feels
homo every
okay.
time I have to go
Yes.
there in order because it's like it's literally the gayest language that they use
You
there.
ever fought with them till they agreed that it's a large?
Oh yeah, I tell them I just say large.
He just says large.
I refuse to say whatever it is I'm supposed to say because yeah,
Trenta, venti.
Trenta.
That's the largest.
See, tell me that's not gay language. I'm telling you that's, but anyway. So relationship advice. So what is the key to happy marriages? Is it the special days doing it all right then, or the everyday, the normal days? Because you have one thing I've noticed too over the years is people who do really big deals in the big days. That's usually like
the only days.
That's the only days.
It's the makeup.
Right. It's like my marriage stunk so bad in the last year. I need to make it look good. That's probably what's going on there. I need to make it look good. So, well, maybe not because they didn't post it on social media. So we'll give you a pass. But yeah, their marriage stinks, and then they like post all the stuff they do on that one day to convince everybody they've got a good marriage. Right. And I see right through that stuff. Mm-hmm. So you social media people today, shut up, all right? I don't need anybody getting me in any trouble. And then we here on this show have declared your marriage, your thing a facade and a fraud. But at the same time,
there's people that have good marriages every day and still do the special days.
Right. So flowers. Do all women like flowers?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just seems kind of like a pointless gift because they don't last real long.
Doesn't matter.
Tell God that they're pointless.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Well, I think they're meant to be out in nature, in the ground.
They have to have something to liven up inside.
Yeah,
I've made her plenty of flowers. I don't.
So then why can't we just get fake flowers?
Made you flowers?
Out of napkins at restaurants, yeah.
Made flowers. That's impressive.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah, so she's got enough.
But this was all before you were married.
Before we were married.
All before you
Since
were married.
we've been married, he's
Yeah,
got
they're
me
still
flowers
here
maybe
too.
twice.
They last.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what about jewelry? Does everybody like jewelry?
No. Some women don't. Abby, our daughter, doesn't like jewelry at all.
Janae loves jewelry.
I love jewelry.
It's like my thing is like every holiday, it's like, what do you want? Jewelry, Yeah. And the thing is, I'm not about to drop like $1,000 every holiday to go get a nice piece of jewelry, and then we go and buy jewelry for like $100, and it falls apart. And she needs new jewelry for the specific things. Like every big holiday, I end up getting a new piece of jewelry that costs $100, and by the next holiday, it needs replaced.
Yeah. The one.
Well, see, that's a good cycle. Like that's a good thing going. That's routine. That's consistent.
If you spent $1,000, you would get the reward for that immediately, and it would seem like a big present. But then it lasts forever, so you don't get that every year. I guess a re-show how much I care.
But then though they have. Remember when you bought me that $1,000? I got nothing the last 5 years. It's like I'm still paying that one off. But yeah, the one thing that I would, that on one hand it worked out good for me, but on the other hand it hurt is when we first got together for like special events, I buy her Precious Moments. And so that just makes it easy. You go find, there's one you can find for pretty much everything. Yeah. So it makes it easy to think of what to get. The problem is they're kind of expensive. So I recommend finding something special like that that's cheaper. And then because it's supposed to be the thought that counts anyway.
That's not impressive.
So you're the guy.
Just don't let her know it was because it was cheap.
You're the guy in the adult years that still makes the handmade cards.
No, I don't do anything handmade. I have to be able to pull it off a shelf at a store. I'd rather pay the extra money than actually like work at it. but yeah. So the Spirit of Liberty broadcast. Do you guys watch all the shows or
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them?
On the way here. I watch it.
have your husbands ever embarrassed you before on the show?
Not that I'm aware of.
Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah, I'm asking all the other wives about that. Okay, so what's your advice for the show? What do we need to do more of on the show? More guests, more fun videos to watch.
More guests.
More ghosts. Yeah.
Interviews.
Yeah.
So like were they in here in person? How'd you like having the virtual
I thought that was cool.
co-host?
I loved it.
Yeah, we had a little bit of audio problems, but I figured out what that was. So yeah, but the problem I'd like to do more of that. The problem is getting pastors on Sunday mornings.
Yeah, that's
is not an easy thing.
Even church members in here.
Yeah.
Having one.
Well, I try to get more of the church members here, but not everybody likes being in front of a camera.
Camera shy.
But yeah, no, I'm
Or you record them and then pretend that you're doing it live, and so say your part live, and then have them say their part.
well, maybe if we pre-record it too, that way know if you say something stupid, we can edit it out.
There's
But
an invisible man that the world will never know unless they visit.
all right, the guy who is behind the computer. So yeah, our technician, he never wants to be on camera. He's never filmed.
There is no actual evidence that he is a member here.
He doesn't actually exist.
That is true. If we were to try to prove in a court of law he was actually a part of this church at any time, we wouldn't have any except for just people's testimony.
If you watch the building transition video for like less than 1/10 of a second.
Oh yeah.
There's a glimmer.
Is it all in the back of his head though, or did you actually capture him?
No, my kids told me too. In my day in the life of a
Mhm.
pastor's wife, he's on that video.
Uh-oh.
So now everybody online.
And he's hearing everything we're saying about this. So when our accounts disappear, we're gonna know who did
Live
it.
stream shut down.
Yeah.
And here I was going to say that he's genius because once he heard that you're going to do this and you want to have the guys at the church on, that he immediately volunteered to be in that room, not on camera. No chance he was ever going to be a guest, but now maybe.
Well, any guy.
There's images of his face out there.
Yeah. Well, any guy that's nervous about coming on the show or that's camera shy has 4 women now that can go up to them and say that they're braver than they are. That will surely get them on quick.
Did anybody have to twist their wife's arm to get him to come on the show? Or did we all?
I had demands, and I don't see my red M&Ms.
Had a club and everything, and knockdown drag.
Yeah, so we need to ask this too. So like as IFB wives, how degraded and disrespected do you all feel as women? Because we're horrible to women in our church. So is there any truth to that, or
anyone that knows us personally knows how funny that is. You've always let me have my own opinion. And I always said I needed to marry someone that was very secure with themselves to put up with me. So yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's very good about listening to my side, my ideas, and he takes them all into consideration. Sometimes we go with mine, sometimes we go with his.
And then I tell you to submit.
Yeah. If we're disagreeing on something, he'll come in and yell, "Submit!"
So he actually does.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. The people who watch the IFB preaching clips and stuff, they don't understand is like in the IFB world too. Part of our way is we do use, extreme language. We talk tough. It's just part of our persona. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's not our wives that are like all psychos and going crazy and stuff. Yeah. So the thing is, it is funny to hear that type of thing. You know, and then you have the goofballs out there too in the IFB world that are always like, women be silent. I'm sure we've offended several men today because we're suffering women to speak. Inside a church building. In a church building, we're suffering women to speak. But you know, all those guys, what they have in common, they don't have any women either. but they talk really big. Well, they talk really big online.
I think one of the big problems is people going into marriage, people that aren't married yet or have been married for a short period of time, think that marriage as a fundamental Baptist is just like straight out of Ephesians 5. The women just have no say on anything at all. They're basically there just to serve you.
Have your kids.
And then you as the husband are just king of the castle, grandmaster, and whatever you want out of your wife, she's supposed to do. And, you know, if you want to run your home that way, I can't really tell you that you're like, I don't know, you're out of place, but I can't get in the middle of you and your home. You're not going to be happy by doing that. There's no way. You're going to be completely miserable.
Neither of them are going to be happy in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Your kids won't either.
Right. Your kids won't be happy. And at the end of the day, you can look tough and act like, you know, my wife listens to me, but, you know, my wife listens to me too, but I don't have to twist her arm into doing it. She just loves me, you know.
Well, I think one of the differences too, and, you know, there are the nut jobs in the IFB that are out there that do all, you know, teach the things that we do, but yet don't really live it. But I think the difference here between here and places where you do have the bad stories that are out there is, you know, we don't force anything here. There's no pressure. There's no pressure to be fake here. So the thing is, you know, if some woman in the church, you know, doesn't always dress up to the standard of the pastor, people aren't beating her down in the church.
Don't even pay attention to it.
No,
I couldn't.
Nobody really
couldn't
cares.
Name a single woman right now that I know. I mean, I'm sure that there are, but just that, you know, might not wear the perfectly knee-length skirt or something like that. I literally can't think of one.
Right.
But I guarantee you, there's churches all over this country right now that if I walked in and just found a random guy in the church, it's like, name all the women that don't follow the dress standards. They can do it without even thinking.
He brings out his book and
like keeps track of it, pulls out his imprecatory prayer.
Right.
Yeah, so that stuff is bizarre.
Yeah, but there is pressure to be fake in a lot of churches, and so, you know, you've got people a lot of times too. They get into church because their life's a wreck, and you know they're wanting to get their families and their marriages patched up, and so they go to these churches, and then they think, all right, you know, all of a sudden everything will be better if my wife just starts dressing right, if we like fix a lot of these outward things. And then it just becomes fake, and they're doing everything just to please the pastor, just to not get gossiped about. And so, you know, and it just makes them more miserable because, again, being fake is not fun. And so if, you know, if I've got to put on a show where I'm the head of the house and all that kind of stuff, you know, we're just all going to be miserable. It's not going to last. It's not going to be real. And so that is the reality in a lot of churches. There is a lot of phoniness there. There's a lot of, you know, things that are fake there. And what people end up doing, they end up associating the dress standards and, you know, wives submitting to their husbands as a part of the problem, because those are kind of the unique things, you know, compared to your typical church that's out there today. But the thing is, there's a real version of IFB. There's the IFB, you know, and I'm talking culturally, where it's genuine. And then there's the IFB where it's fake and it's a facade, and you are going to see just vastly different results. And so you're going to have
raising your kids, especially.
Right. And so you're going to have, you know, people like me that I grew up in an IFB, you know, church where it was real. And so I wanted to continue that on. You've had other people, they were raised with a lot of the same outward things, but it was fake. And those are the ones that are the ones all recovering now. Those are the ones that are joining up with these groups that are all geared towards, you know, attacking what they came from. And so they attack all the visual reminders, you know, the dress standards, the hard preaching,
King James.
the King James Bible. They attack all those things, but they ignore that passage in the Bible where it talks about the devil sowing tares among the wheat. And you are not, you know, sowing tares among the weak is not sticking a Joel Osteen in an IFB church. It's going to be, it's going to look like us. They're going to come in saying King James Bible. They're going to come in talking dress standards, all the things that we're known for, but they are fake. It's called wolves in sheep's clothing. Kenneth Copeland is not a wolf in sheep's clothing. No. He is a wolf in wolf's clothing.
Yeah. It's a retarded wolf.
Right,
clothing.
yeah. Yeah. Stephen Furtick is not a wolf in sheep's clothing. Right. He's a wolf in homo's clothing. So they're going to look like us. They're going to talk like us. And then the haters out there, they make a lot of these people the picture, and they try to make them like the mascot for the IFB. And, the thing is, to get an accurate, one thing I learned just growing up in the IFB world is the big names aren't the best source for, what the real thing is. Because, they just never are. It's usually the lesser knowns and just the regular people that are out there, the little guys, because your average church doesn't run 1,000 people. Right. Yeah. The average church runs less than 100, and so are we really going to let these guys who are the rare exception, guys who have churches of over 1,000 people, be the poster child for it? And the problem is, a lot of the pastors, they put these guys up there as popes because everybody wants that church with 1,000 people and all that stuff. But that's just not reality. And so these haters, they're going to continue just using the same few bad examples out there. Some are misunderstood examples, but
there are bad examples, and we acknowledge that.
Oh,
there are bad examples.
Yeah.
We can acknowledge that there are.
Right. So yeah, it is, I guess it's frustrating for me when I just hear some of that stuff that's out there, and then they just act like we're just horrible to women or horrible to our kids, and it's like, I don't think you've ever. It's like maybe you ought to visit our church.
I know,
before you talk about our church.
I wish I'd visit. I read a comment. People like to bring up our kids a lot,
Mm.
and I think you were making some statement on the show when Tommy was sitting in here, and they're like, "Oh, what a great father," And I'm thinking, you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen their relationship. You don't know how close we are to our kids. You don't even know. Just shut up.
Mhm.
It makes me mad when people bring up our kids because.
Right.
They have no clue. We have really good kids.
Well, at the end of the day, a lot of these people that like to talk about this stuff have been fake all along.
Mhm. They admit
so
it.
the whole time they were living this life, they were fake, and they weren't doing it out of the genuine goodness of their heart. They were doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I mean,
think our kids are going to be miserable.
yeah. If I lived a fake life my entire life, and it was all just a facade for other people, I would hate myself.
Yeah.
So then I think a lot of these people go into their whole recovering world, and they all start talking together, and they find other people that were fake, and so they just assume some people are fake. That means everybody's fake.
Mhm.
That means everybody's doing it just to impress people. And literally, I'm being honest, I can't think of something specifically that I've done that I was just wanting to impress somebody with.
Mhm.
Wanting to impress somebody with how I dressed, or how my family dressed, or how my kids acted. I mean, it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
I think about all the different camps that you can be in. You can be in one camp that thinks women shouldn't wear makeup, or women shouldn't wear jewelry,
Cut your hair.
Yeah, do their hair,
Yeah.
cut their hair, whatever. And so when from the beginning of our marriage, we've always made it a point to just be who we are, no matter who we're around. So I've never tried changing. If I don't have a standard that women shouldn't wear makeup, I'm gonna keep wearing makeup, no matter what group I'm in.
Yep.
Same with earrings, jewelry, whatever.
That's something I appreciate about this church and any IFB church I've been in. The leadership is left up to the family.
Exactly.
It's not the pastor dictates who is allowed to wear makeup and who is not.
Right.
He leaves it up to the husband
Which it
to
should
decide.
be.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a decision the couple makes together, which is another good marriage thing.
Yeah. Well, and we've got people in the church too that are more strict than me in some areas, even like with music, or even too, like with food and health stuff.
Yeah.
You know what?
Definitely.
If people want to eat all organic, all healthy stuff, what in the world could I say is wrong with that? But I'm not going to pretend like I do it.
Right.
And it's like a lot of pastors, they always think I got to be the most strict in the church in every area.
In every area,
And it's
They
like,
make it into a competition.
Yeah. They start competing with their people, and it creates a horrible spirit in the church. And so it's just like,
well, then it creates a bunch of tattletales too, or like standard police, or
if somebody wants to out spiritual me in some area, well, great. I hope everybody's more spiritual than me. But I'm not. I'm not gonna just try to compete with you.
Right.
That's a burden I'm not willing to take on.
Right.
So if somebody in our church is more strict than me on dress or some other area, that's not my problem. But it's a lot of times when these people do that, I've seen this and I've had people try it with me. It never works. But what they do, they put pressure on the pastor in these things, and they make him feel like he's got to do this stuff too, because they want him to preach about this stuff. It's like, well, we don't let our girls do anything, and so you need to preach on this, pastor. You need to preach on the wickedness or whatever. So everybody else in the church will feel like, well, we can't do this because, they're intimidated because those kids are talking about the movie they watch with their kids. And it's just like, if you know this is the right thing to do, then just do that in your home. Why do you have to force everyone else to do this?
What have we always told our kids when it comes to being raised in our home versus other people's home?
Yeah, this is the McMurtry house.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the way we do things. They might do things differently, and that's fine.
And I was told that too growing up, and not just about even things we wanted to do. That was one thing with my dad, because I remember when I got to an age where I started noticing not everybody in our church does what my dad preaches. It kind of shocked me and surprised me.
Yeah, I bet.
And I remember I said to my dad, I was like, hey, Dad, we saw Mrs. So-and-so, and she was wearing pants, and my dad was just like, well, that's their house. That's that's not my wife. That was his attitude towards it, and so I, from a young age, I learned, oh, okay, I guess families make their own decisions in these things. I guess it's not the pastor that tells everyone what to do.
Right.
It's the husband. He just preaches from the Bible, but you can't make anybody do anything. And a lot of pastors know you can't make anybody do anything, but they will drive themselves crazy when people won't do what they preach. And you can't do that either. It's just it's a burden that we've not been called to bear, and one that I'm not going to bear. But at the same time too, even teaching some things that are biblical, like teaching about women's dress, it does make a lot of people mad. And oh well, I mean, if it makes you mad to hear this, then I guess you're probably in the wrong place. But you can endure this for an hour, right?
They can go to any other church and not have to hear it.
Right. The problem is they got the Holy Spirit that deals with the rest of the week.
Well, one of the other things is when you start to think about it, is these these like spiritual competitions, I guess the standard competitions. Yeah. I think one thing that people get mixed up on a lot is not understanding longevity, and they think real short term of like, I want to out spiritual brother so and so's family in the church, and then you do that at the expense of your family's happiness when what you were already doing before was fine. So when you make all of them mad, you're not leading out of conviction anymore. You're leading out of wanting to please everybody else, and then you're gonna mess yourself up. Because I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but I've never seen a family getting involved in this kind of stuff that ever lasts.
No,
it doesn't last.
No,
their kids especially, they fizzle out.
And it's easy to do a lot of this stuff when your kids are tiny, and you can force them to obey. But as they become teenagers, they start to see if it's real with you or if it's fake with you. And I think that is a big determining factor in raising good kids.
100%.
Yeah. Let me just say this to all parents out there. When your kids become teenagers, how you have parented is going to be revealed.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd be careful if your kids are all under 13 and you run your mouth about your parenting. Yeah. It will all be revealed. Once they become teenagers and young adults, it's all going to be revealed. So, man, I'd take some humility pills and maybe just try to keep my mouth shut until...
Did you really even preach much about raising kids until we had raised some to adulthood? I mean, I know you have occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, not that much. I mean, anybody can teach what the Bible says, but, at the same time, too,
we never made any big promises though. Like
Right.
my kids will never do this. And
Yeah,
my kids are gonna
I've
be
always
like
tried to
this.
avoid, like, you want to know how to raise your kids? Watch mine. Watch what I do.
Yeah, Kelly came along and just proved it.
Right, exactly. That's why I thought I was going to get voted out a couple weeks ago when Austin got preaching clip of the week, and then we had Kelly. I thought if my qualifications come up, then Kelly might she might get me disqualified. She's very riotous and unruly. But fortunately, didn't come up and skated by. But anyway, but yeah, well, we're out of time today. But just wanted to get the wives involved. So appreciate all of them coming on, and hope everyone has a great Valentine's Day. And make sure you join us next week for the Spirit of Liberty broadcast. And I don't know what we have, if we have anything planned special for next week. I think next week we're going to do another live call-in. That's what it is. We're going to plan on, another live call-in show. So make sure you're ready for that. And we will see you all next week. God bless.